Hello everyone, Christian Ryan here. I meant to make this video a long time ago, but, yeah, life got in the way and I had other video ideas, so I couldn't really focus on it, so I'm finally bringing it to you now, which is my review of the full series of the Barney miniseries, Dino Dance Party. You see, even though I don't know why they decided to create it, back in late August, early September of 2025, Mattel announced that they would be releasing the very first Barney miniseries, where they would encourage the kids to dance along with the video by having Barney and the gang break into a Dino Dance Party and sing one of their favorite songs, such as the I Love You song, the Cleanup song, the Everyone is Special song, the Listening to Your Ideas song, the Sharon song, you know, all of those songs. And I already did a review of the first episode, which I pretty much did, but as soon as it came out, and basically, this review here is going to be talking about, like, all of the other episodes they released. Now, before we continue, I do want to add something. You see, basically, this series is kind of notable compared to the TV series, because this series doesn't use the official TV show voice cast, which is usually Jonathan Langdon as Barney the Dinosaur.
Hey, friends! I feel a dance coming on! Woohoo! If you need to talk, I love to listen.
Jonathan Tan as Billy.
Hey, can we play? I'm okay.
Bryn McAuley as Baby Bob.
You found it!
Diana Tsoy as Mel.
Sweet! I just gotta keep practicing my jump. Then I can get just as good as Billy. Ugh. Yes!
Paciocco as Vivie.
Amazing! Jazz hands!
And Deroche as David.
Yeah! We don't know what that word means. Uh-oh. Might have been too good. The ball's flying out of the park.
So yeah, that's pretty much the TV voice cast, especially for when it comes to the main characters, Barney, Billy, Baby Bob, Mel, Vivie, and David. And honestly, they do a really good job at their jobs, because the voice actors for the human kids do a great job of creating the voices for their characters, and the voice actors for the dinosaurs do a great job of, like, voicing their characters, and sort of putting a new twist on what their voices are like, even if Bryn McAuley's voice is sort of like her version of Julie Johnson's Baby Bop. But as I said, this series is notable to some fans who recognize this voice cast, because this series doesn't include the voice actors from the TV show. Or you see, what's weird is that they kind of don't want to use voice actors from the TV show for anything else they do with the Barney franchise, like albums, books, toys, apps, you know, that sort of stuff. I have a feeling that they might not even use the official TV show actors for live shows if they finally decide to go down that line. Seriously, there needs to be a Barney's World live show. I'm sure kids would love to see Barney perform in a show also like he used to back in the 90s, and a tour almost like it, but Barney's World, you know? So anyway, you're probably wondering how are the Barney gang going to talk if they don't use the official TV show voice actors. Well, you see, a while ago, like last year, I learned from one of the official admins of Barney Wiki that apparently sometimes TV shows have a thing called voice matches, where basically they hire someone to sound like the original voice actor. That way they won't have to use the original voice actor for multiple pieces of merchandise and whatnot. And unfortunately, all of the voice matches for the main characters are unknown, especially for Barney, Baby Bop, Mel, Vivie, and David, but the voice match for Billy, which is Dave McRae, is currently known because Dave McRae is so far the only voice match of Barney's World to actually say to the public that he's been casted as the voice match for Billy. So currently he's the only voice match we know by name, while we don't know the names of the other voice matches for the characters, which is kind of a disappointment, since I like to give people the credit they deserve by telling you who they are, and I can't really do that if I don't know who the person is. So yeah, as you can imagine, that's pretty annoying. Now, I already talked about the voice matches for Barney, Billy, and Baby Bop and Mel in my first episode review, but to give a recap, Barney and Billy's voices do sound a little bit different compared to Jonathan Langdon and Jonathan Tan.
I'm Barney, and this is the Super D-Duper Park. I love dancing. Bet you I can make the park dance with me too. Woohoo! I'm here if you need me, or even if you don't. Yay! Go! Come on, Tail! What are you feeling, Vivie? Honesty doesn't disappoint me. Tell me how you really feel. Thank you for being honest with me. And yourself. I love rolling, but I want to play something we both love. That's terrific, David!
Hey, Billy. Are you okay? I'm always here to listen if you want to talk, or even if you don't. Good idea, Baby Bop. Maybe you just need a little extra glow. Ooh, I feel a Dino Dance Party coming on. Hey, everybody, let's get up and dance. Ooh, purple. My favorite. Super D-duper, Baby Bop. Even though you're still growing, you're also growing up. Look at all the things you tried. You're dino-rific. Even so, I'm all about a little scrub-a-dub-dub. It'll be a terrific time, especially with friends. I'm here for you, Mel. That's really brave of you to share your feelings. Whatever you need, I'm your dinosaur.
Whoops! Hi, friend. I'm Billy. Watcha! I love to move. Come on. Can you keep up? I can run and jump and fly. Arr! I messed up, mateys. But that's okay. Sometimes it takes a few tries to nail it. And he did it! Look! Ta-da! I made a throne for Queen Baby Bop. Eating a sandwich? Eating lots of sandwiches? I love sandwiches. Rolling at the moon. This move is called the I Love You. It feels like we've been here forever. Can we move around a little and take a break? But it's more fun to use your legs. To run. Like this. Race me. Awesome. Thanks, Barney. I love doing tricks on my scooter. I'm sorry, Baby Bop. And all of you. I guess I need more practice. But I want to play with you guys. But Vivie, I can't help it. My tummy wants a snack. No thanks, Barney. I want to try Vivie's pose first. My tummy can wait. I didn't do it on purpose, Mel. It was a total accident. Wow! Your parade float is coming along great, David!
Mel, for some reason, sounds like she's older than a 6-year-old.
Nado, manaso, pangawo, Barney. No hay problema. Es fácil. These are the most beautiful stars I've ever seen. Let's go to the top of the hill and see them even better. Dun, 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 dun. Behold, I'm Super Duper Mel, and I can swing all the way across without touching the ground.
One can higher for the record, Barney. Watch this. But, Barney, it's not your mess. What if instead of using this old birdie to play badminton, we can use this rubber ducky instead? Not quite, Baby Bop. I'm seeing if I can use this old stuff from Lost and Found to create a new sport for us to play. Yeah, they're okay, but I'm looking for something that might be a bit more sporty. Hey, Baby Bop, there really is a lot you can do with this hoop. Maybe we could use it after all. See if you can make a basket. 2 points.
And Baby Bop's voice match almost does the voice of Baby Bop that Bryn McAuley does, but sounds like she's taken inspiration from the person who played Baby Bop in Barney Life World Tour Celebration.
Hi, friend. Can you find me? You found me. I'm Baby Bop. I love hide and seek, roller skating, and playing in costumes. Oh, my goblin costume! Thanks, Barney! Barney? Huh. Goblin Baby Bop will find Barney. Never fear, David. Billy and I will help you figure it out. What do you love to do with Barney? Well, yo-ho-ho! Off to the pirate ship we go to see if it's your favorite. Ahoy, mateys! To find David Square, we must defeat the oogly-googly sea monster! When I feel my happiest, I like to be me, because I can skate super fast! No matter what you feel today, to do tricks, and we're doing ballet twirls on skates. It just won't work. Aw, it's hard to be more baby than Bop. Hear ye, as queen of playground castle, let me tag ye! Barney, I need to be able to run like a wolf. My skate costume isn't scary. Time for Dino Chase Skate Edition. I was hooping. I mean hoping so. I'm little, but I still got the moves.
And those were the only characters I could talk about because those were the only characters featured in the first episode. But as for Vivie and David, who are featured in some of the other episodes, Vivie almost sounds like she's voiced by Paciocco, but yet, for some reason, someone feels a little bit off.
There you are. And now, behold, treasure hunters! The ancient tower of Pinwheelia, where we'll store all of our finest treasure. That is fantabulous! It was me! It was my tummy! I'm so hungry. I don't think I can keep going. Go ahead without me, David. Tell the others I love them. There's nothing sadder than a frightened dinosaur. And we're gonna do a super fancy dino dance that I made up myself. Twisting and turning. You got it! Okay. This is one of my most favorite pictures I've ever made. Not yet. It needs one more thing. I'm almost finished with the fanciest sand palace ever. Ta! What? Oh, I didn't even get to do the duh into duh. Thanks, Barney. I feel a lot better. Even though the story was sad, it was really good. It made me feel a lot.
I'm moving, Billy. I'm moving my hands, and I'm using them to make art. How? I love to dance. I did some racing, Billy. But Baby Bop, if we let Billy join us, we can all play together. Wanna try first, Baby Bop? And statue! What's wrong? Big feelings can be rough. It's happened to me too, David.
And as for David, for some reason, he also sounds like he's older, like what they did with Mel, only someone else also feels off for him, just like with Vivie. I don't know why, but someone just does.
Barney, I'd like to introduce you to my brightest friend, Super Mega Glowing Gary! Oh no, but without his light, it's even the darker out here. Thanks, Barney. I feel kind of scared. You see, I'm afraid of the dark. It's hard to have fun when I'm scared. I want to discover more magical things, like purple fireflies. I just feel a lot better about the dark if Super Mega Glowing Gary was still glowing. Barney was there for me when I was scared. I want to be there for him too. We've got you, Barney. Not so fast, Paint. Here, Vivie, in Periwinkle. That's a funny name for a color. This is my first time down this slide. I'm gonna go to the tippy top and slide down as fast as I can. I want to do that. Roar! Roar! I did it! Roar! Yeah! I'm gonna go again. Little by little. You found me! I have a happy feeling on the inside that feels... fluttery. Like butterfly wings. Thanks! I'm proud of me too! I can't stop dribbling! I guess the basketball wants to go this way now. I can't wait to shoot hoops like my brother. Aw, I missed it. Barney, can you make a basket? That was so close. Barney, you're such a good listener and such a good friend that my favorite thing to do with you is just talk. I remember now, Barney. I left Super Mega Glowing Gary, right? Oh no! He's gone! Gary! You're alright! Cool! Barney can help you. You're flying, Baby Bob! I mean, your kite is. Costume tag was fun. But I got scared when Baby Bop was a wolf. That's why I stopped playing. Woohoo! That's perfect, Billy! I love balloons! Maybe making a float wasn't such a good idea after all. Well, I was.
It's just that I don't really like loud noises, and I'm worried it might happen again. I do still love balloons, and I feel better knowing my friends are here for me if I ever get scared. I think I'm ready to try again.
So yeah, I'm not sure if it's obvious, but I'm not entirely a fan of what the voice matches are doing with the Barney characters. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to give them any hate or anything, especially because, well, someone has to voice the characters when you can't get the official TV show voice actors for some reason, and these people honestly do a very decent job at least trying to sound like the Barney's World characters that we hear on the TV show. And don't get me wrong, I don't have anything against voice matches, seeing how that was also a thing in the original Barney series, seeing how Baby Bop has had a few voice matches, even though they were usually dubbed over by Julie Johnson, except for this one Tsoy. And as for Bob West as Barney, when he was still Barney on the show, he's also had several voice matches as well, like David Franks and Duncan Brannon. It's just that, for some reason, the voice matches here in Barney's World don't entirely do, like, a good job at trying to not sound like an impression of the characters. I mean, to be honest, they at least get the voices of the characters down very well to know what the basic setup of the voices are, like when Duncan Brannon or Tim Dever voiced Barney in the original show, but for some reason, when the voice matches do it here in Barney's World, they just sound like impressions of the characters instead of like actually trying to sound like the characters. And to be honest, I've actually heard some people on YouTube actually do very good voice impressions of the Barney's World characters, specifically Barney, Mel, Vivie, and David, especially for when it came to a YouTube channel that did an animatic skit about what if Barney was a toy that came to life in Barney's World, you know, like in the original series. And honestly, the people who played the characters there did an amazing job with trying to imitate how the characters sounded on TV.
Whoa! Hey, friends! It's so good to see all your happy faces. Well, I never seen happy faces like those before. It looks funny. Are we playing funny faces? Oh, I love that game.
Hi, guys. You're just in time. I've got something to show you that I've made. Is it a drawing of the park? No? Well, what did you make, Vivie? It's not what I made. It's who I made. Ta-da! One way to find out.
What is it? Did you make a paper airplane? Whoa! It's a stuffed toy of Barney. It looks just like him. He's going to love it.
So honestly, they do a better job at playing the Barney's World characters than the voice matches do, and honestly, they do a really good job with doing those voice impressions, so I honestly think they deserve the credit. But yeah, even though I don't want to say I hate the voice matches, seeing how they don't really bug me that much, it's just for some reason, they just sound a bit different, and even though I don't want to say I hate it, I don't necessarily like it. Now, I don't want to hate on the voice matches, seeing how they're doing the best they can, since not every voice can match what the original sounded like, especially if it's like a new voice or an old voice, but at the same time, it's like, I'm not entirely a fan of it. But I will give the voice matches this. They do a good job trying to sound like their characters, and they honestly deserve the credit that they need, because, well, someone has to voice the characters, and not only that, but it is pretty close enough to the TV show voices. I will give them that. Although, even though we don't have the TV show voice actors playing the characters for the miniseries, we do have Kickstart Animation, who's been animating the Barney's World episodes ever since episode 10, Team Mateys, to basically provide the animation services for the shorts. It feels like they've been doing a lot of the animation ever since episode 10 and short 9, Make It Myself. I mean, I don't have anything against their animation style, but it's honestly not my favorite compared to Saturday animation, so I am a little confused by that, but that's obviously not the important part here. One other thing that I want to point out, which I find really cool, is that whenever they have their Dino Dance Party, Barney uses his magic to teleport them to the colorful backgrounds that they've used in the live-action Barney's World music videos, where Barney dances with real-life kids in front of these colorful backgrounds of, like, stars, spots, colors, you know, anything they could design for Barney to dance in front of. Which I find really cool, seeing how I was always confused as to why Mel, Vivie, and David never appeared in the live-action music videos, and only Barney, Billy, and Baby Bop appeared in the live-action music videos. Seeing how most of the time we hear Mel, Vivie, and David singing along with the songs, seeing how they're taken directly from the albums, and not only that, but there's this one music video where they dance to the Barney's World theme song, but yet Barney doesn't sing it because, well, Barney's Barney, and Barney never sings to his own theme songs, but yet we still hear Mel, Vivie, and David singing a song, and yet we don't see them singing along because they're not even there. That's just really confusing in my opinion, but anyway, I'm just glad that we finally get to see the kids Barney, Billy, and Baby Bop usually hang out with finally being in front of these colorful backgrounds, because for some reason it felt a little bit empty having not all of the characters there, let alone not all of the main characters there. So anyway, now that we got all that setup out of the way, let's move on to the episodes. But just to remind you what episode 1 is like, I'll give you a quick recap. The episode opens with Mel trying to give her car a paint job, and basically Billy enters the park with a case of the Grumpies, and Barney checks up on him, and basically Billy doesn't like that he's feeling grumpy, so Baby Bop suggests that they could probably help cheer him up, so they decide to do the I Love You, I Love Me Too song as the Dino Dance Party, and that leads to Billy getting happy again and having a race with Mel. Very good episode, but before we move on, I do want to mention something. In the review of the episode, I mentioned how in the trailer they made it seem like they were going to keep track of the dance moves that they want the audience to do, like it's one of those Just Dance video games, but yet that never appeared in the episode, so I thought they just never added it into the actual episode and advertised something that they never added, so I was like, why focus on it if you're not going to add it? But then a day later after I made that review, which was uploaded on the same day the short came out, basically they uploaded another video, which is only a piece of the short, where it's a dance-along tutorial, which means that Just Dancing is basically for dance tutorials only and not for episodes, which are uploaded a day after the episode is uploaded. So I'm like, what the heck is up with that? I mean, the trailer made it seem like the dancing was just going to be part of the episode and not a separate tutorial. What's even the point of that? I guess not entirely complained, but I am very, very confused by it. So confused. But with that all out of the way, I think it's finally time for us to move on from episode 1 to the other episodes we didn't talk about before, starting with episode 2. The episode opens with Baby Bop doing some dancing, but then she notices David's favorite toy, Super Mecha Glowing Gary, is hanging out at the play castle. She picks Gary up and asks if he wants to be her dance partner, and she imagines that he says yes as she twirls away. But just then, David and Barney are walking up to the area because Barney's trying to help David find Gary, but when David finally remembers where he left him, he freaks out because Gary's no longer there. And that just so happens to be when Baby Bop returns, which brings a big relief to David because he thought he lost Gary again. And when Baby Bop asks if she can still dance with Gary, David's hesitant to give Gary to Baby Bop, and Barney assures David he doesn't have to share now if he doesn't want to, and this leads to David commenting on how hard sharing can be sometimes, and Barney decides to help David feel better by doing a Dino Dance Party as they sing the Sharon song from episode 4, One Ripe Tomato. And basically, throughout the song, even though David's still hesitant to give Gary to Baby Bop, he does slowly open up to the idea of sharing and allows Barney and Baby Bop to hold Gary as they continue to dance to the Sharon song. And after they're done, basically, David comments on how much fun he had by sharing, and Baby Bop thanks him for sharing Gary even though he didn't have to, as Barney decides to share a heart with all of us. Especially because of the whole glowing hearts hand thing to go up to the screen to take us to the logo of Barney's World is how Barney usually ends these Dino Dance Party episodes. And I will admit, it is a fine episode, but I can't help but feel like the person who wrote this kind of overlooked what the main problem is, which is Baby Bop taking Gary without David's permission. I mean, the description of the episode clearly states that Baby Bop did this without anyone's permission, let alone David's permission, seeing how Super Mecha Glowing Gary is David's favorite toy. And yet, basically, they treat it like it's a problem that David doesn't entirely want to share with Baby Bop after Baby Bop gives Gary back, even though technically David does have a right for being concerned about Gary and not really wanting to entirely share Gary with Baby Bop, seeing how Baby Bop's the one who took Gary without permission. And not only that, but basically David was really freaking out because he was worried that he lost Gary again. And let me tell you, it doesn't really matter, especially to me, that Baby Bop decides to give Gary back and then, for some reason, finally ask permission to play with Gary because she didn't do it in the first place. And she never even apologized for doing it at all. This almost reminds me of the Sesame Street movie Elmo and Grouchland. I saw a review from a YouTuber once pointing out how he didn't like that basically they tried brushing off the whole Tsoy having almost blanket thing at the beginning of the film. Because basically in that scene, Tsoy kind of did what Baby Bop did, where she took almost blanket without his consent, while he was literally right there in front of her, and starts freaking out that Tsoy he did that. And sure, the film tries to make sure Elmo doesn't try to become a mini version of the film's villain, because Elmo kept claiming the blanket was his, quote-unquote mine, and the film's villain, Huxley, keeps taking everyone's stuff and claiming that it's his. Their only problem with that is that the blanket was Elmo's blanket to begin with, and basically Tsoy took it without permission, while the villain in the film just takes stuff without people's permission to claim that it's his because he likes stealing, and basically that blanket already belonged to Elmo, and he was only in a frenzy because his friend took it without his permission. Because she didn't ask Elmo, if she could hold it. She just straight up saw it, went, "Wow, what a lovely blanket!" and then just absolutely swiped it from where Elmo left it hanging. So this almost feels like the exact situation, only with David in Elmo's place, Super Mecha Glowing Gary in the blanket's place, Baby Bop in Zoe's place, and Barney taking the place of the whole dang adventure to try to convince Elmo that it's nice to share, seeing how he did share his blanket with Zoe at the end of the movie. And what's weirder is that the short kind of glazes over like if Baby Bop actually did anything wrong, because they never really talk about how Baby Bop took someone's toy without their permission. And not only that, but even though Barney assures David he doesn't have to share Gary if he doesn't want to, for some reason even David glazes over the fact that Baby Bop took his favorite toy without permission, and just focuses on how it's hard to share things sometimes, which led to Barney somehow believing that Sharon was the problem, which led to the Dino Dance Party and them performing the Sharon song. Which, I mean, what? I know I'm no child expert here, but this almost feels like the exact same problem with the Elmo and Grouchland movie, where they don't focus on Tsoy taking almost blanket without his permission, like how Baby Bop took Super Mecha Glowing Gary without David's permission. I mean, basically, there's a whole episode about proper apologies where David gets upset with Mel because she almost accidentally ruins David's favorite toy 3 times, believe it or not. And they don't make it seem like it's a problem that David's getting upset with her over Gary, especially since the whole plot of the episode is to try to teach kids the importance of proper apologies, to the point where Barney's like trying to tell Mel that she should probably apologize to David the right way. I mean, he didn't necessarily say exactly that to her because, well, Barney's Barney. He wouldn't say anything that straightforward or honestly. He probably would have said something like, "Mel, is there something else you would like to say to David?" You know, something like that. But basically, the main point here is that even though this short is doing, well, considerably a good job of teaching kids about sharing, what it doesn't succeed in is trying to teach kids, you should ask someone's permission before you take their stuff. So, yeah. Even though this short does a fine job with teaching kids about sharing, it doesn't do a good job when it comes to asking permission. And, yeah, I don't really know what else to say about that, because I pretty much said what I want to say about that short. But, anyway, let's move on to the next episode, episode 3. The episode opens with Vivie working on an important chalk drawing and Barney handing her the color she needs. But for some reason, she's making Billy wait before he can see the drawing, and this is causing him to get really bored, so he wants to take a break from this whole chalk drawing thing so they can move around. But Vivie tries to convince him they are moving around because she's moving her hands to make art, but Billy suggests it's more fun to use your legs to run as he starts to run around, as he wants Vivie to race him. But his run around causes him to accidentally mess up her chalk drawing, which doesn't make her happy. So Barney comes up with the idea of how they can do art while also moving around, which is by dancing, which leads to the Dino Dance Party segment, where they sing to try some new song from the episode Time to Try. And while they do the song, they try many different things, like Billy gets to do some chalk drawing of his own, and apparently he lets Vivie try the favorite food sandwich that he and BabyBop made for David back in the Every Little Thing episode, which honestly isn't the best idea, because that sandwich is full of sandwich stuff like mustard and tomatoes and bread, but it also has stuff like marshmallows, chocolate, and sprinkles. Blech. But either way, while they're doing the dance, they're having a lot of fun while singing, and at the end, basically, Vivie comments on how she did some racing, as Billy comments on how they danced to the music, and apparently during that Dino Dance Party segment, Vivie was able to finish her chalk drawing that she was making, and yeah, before you ask, I have no idea how these Dino Dance Party segments are supposed to work in-universe if they're doing stuff in the park, and that stuff somehow gets done while they're in these colorful backgrounds dancing. But either way, Barney comments on how trying new things is always fun, and how it's also fun when you do it with your friends, which ends the episode. Honestly, it's a very good episode, and they have a very good compromise. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. I'm sorry it wasn't very insightful, it's just I don't know what else to say with these episodes, because they keep it brief, and, well, what else can I comment on? But anyway, now that we're done looking at that episode, let's move on to episode 4. The episode opens with Barney, Vivie, and BabyBop enjoying one of their favorite hobbies, playing on their roller skates, while Billy is enjoying one of his favorite things, riding his scooter and doing tricks. But he accidentally loses control at one point and bumps into BabyBop, which gets her so annoyed that she wants Billy to play somewhere else because they're doing twirls on roller skates and he's doing tricks on scooters, and she doesn't believe that it will work. And I just want to make a quick side note real quick. I know they haven't confirmed if Billy and BabyBop are siblings in the TV series, despite what the puzzle book says about Billy being BabyBop's brother, but if they are still siblings in this series, is Billy even the older brother at this point? Because BabyBop can now do stuff she couldn't do before, like read books and ride roller skates, and she seems to be more of the leader in the sibling dynamics than Billy for some reason, so is she supposed to be the older sibling here? And I know not all sibling relationships are the same, but this seems like a pretty unique way to try to display an older brother and younger sister dynamic.
Look, sharks!
Ha! Sharks? Where?
Here are the sharks, Billy.
Oh, right. Yeah! Go Observer Man!
Billy, we're the villains. We lost.
Oh, yeah. Observer Man was just so cool, I forgot what side we're on.
I mean, I guess I'm not against if they decide to make her the older sibling here, but it is something that I am curious about because of how different this dynamic is. But anyway, even though BabyBop wants Billy to go somewhere else, he doesn't want to leave because he wants to play with them, and that's how Barney and Vivie feel, as Vivie tries to encourage BabyBop that still have more fun if they let Billy play with them, even though BabyBop is pretty hesitant about letting her brother play. And basically, they try to encourage that they can actually still ride scooters and do twirls on roller skates with each other, even if they're playing differently, which leads to Barney using his magic to do the Dino Dance Party segment as they sing the song Everyone is Special. But while they're singing the song, BabyBop keeps getting annoyed that her brother keeps appearing on screen, But apparently she gets into the moral of the song, which is that everyone is special, and eventually doesn't mind that her brother is singing and dancing along with them, as they officially try to do tricks on scooters and twirls on roller skates, which goes very well. So after they're done with the song, Baby Bop comments on how she knew they could do it all along, even though she literally said earlier that it would never work out, which is like one of those TV show cliches when you think about it. But that's not what's important here. The important thing is that Baby Bop gets what the lesson of this episode is, embraced it, and now appreciates that she's playing with her brother, which is how the episode ends. And that was the episode. It's, again, like the others, it was pretty good, but now we'll move on to the next episode, episode 5, and honestly, this is one of my favorites. It opens with Baby Bop showing David and Barney a kite she's flying, which they find very amazing, but then the wind decides to blow Baby Bop's kite into the tree near the Barney bench, and Baby Bop tries her best to try to get it down, and even though Barney offers his help, with David even acknowledging that Barney could probably get it for her, Baby Bop's insisting that she gets it down herself, as she tries everything to try to get it down, pulling on the string, blowing as hard as she can to try to create wind, and even trying to act like the kite's parents by demanding the kite gets down from the tree, but none of it works. And Baby Bop talks about how hard it is to be Lil sometimes, acknowledging part of her name by saying she's more babies than Bop. And Barney comforts her by letting her know that even though she's still growing, she's also growing up, and that she's pretty amazing, especially because she has a lot of great ideas. And it says that Baby Bop can dance, and while she's growing, there's always time for a Dino Dance Party, which leads to them singing the song of the Dino Dance Party segment, the Growing song, which first appeared in Bigger Wheels, and, well, we're still waiting for it to come back, but still, either way, a great remake of another classic Barney song, as Barney, David, and Baby Bop dance to the song, and basically Barney uses a bit of his magic to demonstrate growing, which I hope doesn't really affect how tall they're supposed to be, but anyway, even though it's never established in the episode how exactly this episode is supposed to teach Baby Bop that it's okay to ask for help sometimes, like the plot description says, basically Baby Bop somehow does get the message because she finally asks Barney for help to get her kite down, and Barney decides to help her by using his tail to fly up there to get the kite. Yeah, apart from Barney using his magic to make him and some of his other friends fly in the air, Barney's actually able to fly by using his tail like it's a helicopter now, which is honestly pretty funny. But anyway, he gives Baby Bop her kite back, and she moves further away from the Barney tree to make sure her kite doesn't get stuck this time, and she comments on how she's so little, but she's still got the moves, which results in a moment which shows that these shorts were probably made after the events of the Barney's World YouTube special I Love Me Too, where Baby Bop, for the very first time, gets the ability to glow, and goes on this journey to learn that she glows when she loves herself, otherwise known as self-love, just like how Barney is able to glow whenever he feels joy and happiness. The moment is brief, but honestly, it does demonstrate that this was probably made after the I Love Me Too special, unlike all of the TV show episodes, seeing how Baby Bop currently doesn't glow in the actual TV series. But either way, it's nice to see some Baby Bop glow acknowledgement after they pretty much sort of ignored it a little bit after the release of the I Love Me Too special. But either way, the episode ends with Barney saying that no matter how little or how big we are, he loves us no matter what. So that was episode 5, and you can honestly see why it's one of my favorites, because we get Baby Bop glow acknowledgement, the song choice was really nice, the setup was fun, and not to mention it just felt fun overall, and that way Barney said, I love of you, felt pretty great, because it feels reminiscent of the classic Barney when he always said goodbye to us by saying, and remember, I love you. He didn't exactly say it like that, but it felt perfect in that sense of how it felt sort of similar to that. But anyway, now that episode's done, let's move on to episode 6, which is actually another favorite episode of mine. The episode opens with Vivie, Barney, and Billy playing a game of statues, which is whenever Vivie says statues, you have to freeze. Haven't you noticed that episodes 5 and 6 have the same dinosaur and kid casts as episodes 2 and 3? Weird, huh? But anyway, Billy breaks free from his statue pose, even though Vivie didn't say statue, because he's feeling really hungry. The description for this episode said he had felt a sneeze for some reason, and I don't know how they got that wrong, but it's great that Barney Wiki decided to fix that when they made the episode wiki page for it. Anyway, Barney does offer to make something for Billy, but Billy wants to try out some of Vivie's poses and says that his tummy can wait. So when they play again, it's getting more difficult for Billy to play the game because he's kind of ignoring what his body's trying to tell him, which is kind of weird seeing how it's established in episodes like Red Light Stop, Green Light Go, and the official Barney's World sticker book that Billy is usually great at listening to his body so he can continue playing. So honestly, it's making me wonder what's so different here. But anyway, and when you least expect it, there's a phone ringing, and Barney decides to check it because he thinks it's his tail phone. You see, it's been established ever since episode 7, and then Red Light Stop, Green Light Go, and the second Barney's World TV show, or Check In With Your Body, where Barney apparently has a tail phone, which is a way for him to literally check in with his body so his body can tell him if he needs a nap, or if he needs something to drink, or if he needs to eat, or even if he needs to rest. A little confusing, but sort of funny, but then again, that's honestly not the funniest joke they've ever done in Barney's World, where Barney's tail is sentient.
Wait, Barney, is that your tail in the water?
It's not. My tail and I are currently playing checkers, and it's winning. Oh, nice move, tail.
But anyway, when Barney picks up his tail to see if his body's calling him, turns out nobody's there, but they still hear the ringing. And that's when Billy discovers that's actually been his tail ringing, so that means for the first time he's ever gotten a tail phone, leading to Barney to make a joke about how they might have a family plan or something. And when Billy picks up his tail, he checks in with his body telling him that it needs a check-in, and Billy tells Barney and Vivie that, so Barney decides to make it happen by queuing up the Dino Dance Party segment as they sing the Check In With Your Body song, which debuted in the episode Red Light Stop, Green Light Go. And after they're pretty much done with singing and dancing to that song, we check in with Billy, and he finally acknowledges that he's hungry and asks Barney if he can have a banana, to which Barney magically makes a bunch of bananas appear on a plate, and Barney's saying that he's glad that Billy decided to do the body check-in because we can learn a lot if we check in. But then Vivie's stomach starts to growl as she needs a snack too, and Barney also gives her a banana since he claims they come in bunches, which is a joke everybody laughs at, which ends the episode. So that was the episode, and honestly, it does a really good job at trying to encourage the whole it's important to check in on your body to see if you feel hungry or thirsty or tired, you know? And honestly, I think you can see the pattern of what episodes are considered my favorite in Barney's World, which is where they try to give Billy and Baby Bop as much respect as the kids and or Barney himself gets in most of the episodes of the Barney's World TV series. Like, for example, when they introduce Billy having a tail phone on, or in the previous episode we talked about where Baby Bop not only learns the lesson, but gets to show off the glow power she has whenever she loves herself. I mean, sure, it's sad that Baby Bop apparently doesn't have a tail phone thing yet, and not only that, but Billy is currently the only dinosaur in the show who isn't able to glow. But honestly, these episodes do still put them in the spotlight in the same way that the kids would usually be in the spotlight of the TV series, and I really enjoyed that. Also, I'm pretty sure you might have noticed this, but a lot of the episodes we've been talking about have been about Billy and Baby Bop learning the educational lesson of the episode, and not the human kids for some reason. I mean, the human kids might learn with Billy and Baby Bop, but it's mostly focused on Billy and Baby Bop. Well, starting in this next episode, those dinosaurs learn the lesson of the episodes are sadly gone, but gladly, they focus on the kids learning the moral of the episode again. The episode opens with Mel trying to break the record of how many cans of paint you can stack on top of each other, and with a little help from Barney, who is definitely in no way in connections with the superhero the Buddy Booster, helps Mel complete the challenge, but then Billy's soccer ball accidentally hits the box and causes all of the paint to fall down. Billy apologizes to Mel because he claims it was an accident, and even though Mel knows it's an accident, she doesn't want to help clean it up because she claims it's not her mess. Now, I don't think this is supposed to be connected to Mel not wanting to clean up at all, because, well, in episode 3, Mel's Greatest Treasure, Mel kind of learned the importance of cleaning up after seeing the aftermath of what the mess she and her friends made while looking for her treasure happened, and I'm pretty sure she wouldn't want to go through that again. But I am wondering if Mel thinks that people have to clean up their own messes and other people don't have to clean up other people's messes. Seeing how she said it's not her mess, so she shouldn't clean it up here, and how in the episode I was just telling you about, she said something along the lines of that being very similar, only she said she will clean it up because she said she made the mess.
I made this mess. I'm going to clean it up.
Well, Barney tries to teach Mel in a Barney sort of way that that's not exactly how things work. It decides that he wants to help Billy clean up the mess because he's always about cleaning things up, which, honestly, in the first television short and in Mel's Greatest Treasure, you kind of made that obvious, Barney.
Ooh, does this mean? Can we finally? Yes! I've been waiting all day for this!
But anyway, to help Mel show that cleaning up can be fun, they decide to do a Dino Dance Party segment where they sing the Cleanup song, which is, of course, a remake of the Barney cleanup song that first appeared in Mel's Greatest Treasure, as they pick up cans of paint, dance around bubbles, and even sweep the floor. You know, that sort of stuff. But after they're done with the song, everything's cleaned up, and Billy offers to help Mel try to redo that can of paint challenge that she was doing earlier, and Mel agrees to let Billy help, but says if an arm mess happens, they can all work together to clean it up, and so Billy and Mel finally complete the record for the can of paint stack challenge, and Barney says goodbye to the audience in his typical, oh, this is fun because it's with friends way, you know? And that's the end of the episode, and honestly it was a pretty nice episode, but now we move on to the next episode, episode 8, where it has a very neat record, where it's the first and only episode to ever have 2 dinosaurs and 2 humans, instead of 2 dinosaurs and 1 human, or 3 dinosaurs and 1 human. So, let's get into it. The episode opens with Baby Bop playing costume tag with David and Vivie, which is like regular tag, only Baby Bop has to wear a costume, and the costume she's currently wearing happens to be her queen costume, but she gets tired of running, so she decides an advantage she might need in order to catch her royal subjects is from changing her from her queen costume into a wolf costume, which Barney happily obliges to by using his magic. This is sort of where the plot of the episode comes in, because you see, in the Barney's World episode, I Love You, where David's scared of the dark and Barney helps him calm down, basically, David keeps getting scared of Billy and Baby Bop in that episode, because they're dressing up as nighttime creatures that they find very awesome, like bats or wolves, but every time they are seen in their costumes by David, David gets really scared of them because he's scared of those creatures. So as you can probably imagine, Baby Bop dressing up as a wolf is the last thing David would ever want, and you'd be right, because when David sees that Baby Bop has changed into a wolf costume, he starts to get a little nervous before becoming completely overwhelmed when Baby Bop surprises him and starts chasing after him, which makes it feel like he's being chased by a real wolf, and it pretty much gets so bad that David doesn't want to play the game anymore, to the point where he says it out loud, and his friends start to get a little worried about him because they want to know if he's doing alright, but David's too nervous to say how he actually feels, even to Barney. And even though Vivie tries to reassure him that big feelings can't be rough and she's been through big feelings before, basically David's still a little bit nervous about saying how he feels, so Barney decides to use his magic to cue up a Dino Dance Party so they can sing the Say How I Feel song from the pretty bad Barney's World episode Drawing Attention. And I don't necessarily feel like a Dino Dance Party is necessary for when someone feels like very scared, especially at this moment. But apparently it somehow works because David starts to get happy again when they're singing and dancing to the song. So I don't know. But anyway, I do also want to mention that the animators still have Baby Bop dressed as a wolf in this segment for some reason, even though that's the reason why David's being scared in the first place. I mean, I know the characters aren't aware of that, but honestly, if I were one of the animators, the nicest thing I would do for David is at least let Baby Bop be out of her wolf costume while they're doing the Dino Dance Party segment, almost like how, they weren't in any special costumes or anything in episodes 1 and 4 when they were doing the Dino Dance Party segment. But anyway, after they're done with the song, David finally gets the courage to say how he feels by telling everybody that Baby Bop scared him when she was wearing her wolf costume, and Baby Bop, who doesn't want to scare David, decides the solution is to change into a different costume, and decides that she can use her roller skates, which changes the game from Costume Tag into Dino Tag Skate Edition, which makes David really happy. And that's pretty much how they end the episode. And honestly, it was a pretty good episode, even if I do feel like the Dino Dance Party segment was a little out of place there. But then again, I'm not one of the writers, so I have no idea what the intention was when they were making this episode. Also, have you ever watched an episode and thought they were going to sing this one song, but yet it actually goes to another song you weren't expecting? Well, I feel like this episode was the case for me when I first watched it, because of the fact that this episode was called The Feelings Dance, and Vivie said Big Feelings at the beginning before they went to the Dino Dance Party segment. I thought they were going to sing the Big Feelings song from episode 17, The Big Spill, just like how Vivie sang it in that episode, because, well, it's about big feelings, and she said big feelings, and this episode's called The Feelings Dance, so what else was I supposed to sing? So anyway, that's pretty much the end of the episode, and even though I feel like the segment was out of play, it was still a good episode, and basically, there is something else I want to mention. You see, when the press release for this originally came out, it made us think that episode 8 was going to be the last episode of Barney's World Dino Dance Party, but turns out that wasn't the case, because either they were originally only having 8 episodes but then decided to have 10 instead of 8, or basically the press release was misinformed on when they would actually stop making episodes. But either way, basically after like a week episode 8 came out, because these episodes were releasing weekly on Saturday, this is when episode 9 came out. And that's genuinely caught me off by surprise, so that made me question how many episodes there were left, and turns out there were only 2 left, so let's move on to episode 9. The episode opens with Mel and Barney hanging out in the park, as Mel is taking various objects from Lost and Found as she plans to try to create a new sport with them, like saying instead of using a birdie to play badminton, they could probably use a rubber duck. But that's just when Baby Bop arrives and Mel explains to her what's going on, and Baby Bop says she wants to help out, and she's really focusing on a hula hoop that's in the Lost and Found bin that she really likes. And even though Mel does say it's a good idea, she's trying to look for something that's more sporty. But Mel feels really stuck, and when she talks to Barney saying that she likes how her friends are helping out, but she feels like they're not on the same page, and that some of their ideas are overshadowing hers, and basically this is making her feel really stuck. And Barney decides to make her feel better by saying wiggling and giggling always helps him when his brain is all twisted, so he uses his magic to cue the Dino Dance Party, so they sing the song I Love to Listen to Your Ideas from episode 10, Team Mateys. And what's honestly pretty fun about this video specifically is that apparently it's the only Dino Dance Party segment in the miniseries where the song matches the actual length of the song heard in the episode, instead of going for the original original extended version heard in music videos and the albums, or a custom version of the extended version heard from the music videos and albums. Pretty interesting, huh? Anyway, after they're done with the Dino Dance Party, Mel comes to realize that some of her friends' ideas are worth trying out too, as she focuses on the hula hoop like Baby Bop and says that they can probably use it, as they create a new sport called Twirly Ball, where you throw a soccer ball through the hoop to try to get points. And Barney says that he likes to see his friends coming up with ideas and working together with each other, which is how the episode ends. And honestly, that was a pretty good episode. It tries to have the whole, listening to others thing that was taught in Team Mateys, while also convincing people to listen to others' ideas and maybe share ideas with that was seen in One Ripe Tomato. Pretty interesting, huh? But anyway, now this leads us to the final episode of the Barney Swirl to miniseries Dino Dance Party, which is episode 10. Which honestly feels like an episode that's still trying to be like one of the regular episodes we just saw, because, well, they don't want to do anything too spectacular since it's a miniseries, but they still try to create a finale episode, seeing how it's kind of like the final episode of the miniseries, unless they decide to greenlit another season for the miniseries. But then again, I'm not sure if that's possible, because I don't know how miniseries works. But anyway, the episode opens with David making a parade float using his bike and a wagon they have, so they can have Super Mecha Glowing Gary enter a parade that's apparently going to happen that we don't really know all that much about, because they never elaborate on what's happening. And Billy arrives complimenting David's float and suggests him that they could probably use balloons to make it look even more spectacular, and David likes the idea since he likes balloons, but when he's testing out the float, one of the balloons hits the branches of the Barney tree and pops in a weird magical way where it looks like it's made out of magic. I guess that's one way to pop a balloon, but the important thing here is that it sadly scares David, because he tells Barney and Billy that he's actually scared of loud noises, and that he's scared that it might happen again if they try out the parade float. And Barney tells David that it was really brave of him to express his feelings like that, and assures him that whatever he needs, he's the dinosaur to go to, and so Barney can remind David that his friends can always help him no matter what. Barney cues up the last Dino Dance Party we'll ever have so far, as they sing the I've Got You song. I know I said earlier that basically it feels weird to cue up these Dino Dance Parties when someone's feeling scared, but honestly I'll give this one an excuse, because even though I'm not so sure about the dancing, the song they play, which is the I've Got You song, is honestly pretty nice because it's a song that Barney sings to his friends to assure them they stare for them no matter what. And he also provides ideas for how they could calm down, like taking a deep breath, looking at all of the friendly things to see, hearing the calm sounds around you, and Barney also counting backwards from 5 to 1. So even if I'm not sure the dancing's necessary, I do feel like the song is necessary, seeing how there are moments in the Barney's World TV series where he sings this song to help his friends calm down or pretty much feel a little bit better, so I don't mind seeing how it's a pretty nice song, and honestly it feels on brand with the Barney's World franchise. But after they're done with the Dino Dance Party, David decides he wants to try again, seeing how he still loves balloons, and he feels better knowing that his friends are always there for him no matter what. And as Barney makes another balloon appear in Billy's hands to replace the balloon that popped, Barney and Billy assure David that they'll be there for him no matter what, including David's toy Super Mecha Glowing Gary, seeing how that's one of David's favorite things ever in the entire world. And after tying the balloon to the wagon, they all march along to join the parade, as Barney he uses the hard hands and to close us out one last time. So that was the last episode of Barney's World Dino Dance Party, and honestly I found it as a really great episode, because it helps remind kids that their friends and family can be there for them no matter what, especially since that was represented by Billy and Barney assuring David that they are there for him no matter what, including some of their other friends. My only gripe is that basically this is the last episode of Dino Dance Party, and when it came out, I originally thought they were probably going to make an episode for every single Barney's World song out there, so kids can have dance moves to dance along with them, which honestly would have been nice, and I was at least hoping the last episode would have all 6 of the main characters seen in the episode, instead of only 3 or 4 of them. So, basically, I found it disappointing because we don't really see Mel, Vivie, or Baby Bop in it, even though I felt like that would have been a nice touch, seeing how they're trying to say David's friends are always there for him no matter what, and Mel, Vivie, and Baby Bop are some of David's friends, so missed opportunity, am I right? But yeah, either way, it's still a great episode, even if they totally missed out on that idea of having all 6 of the main characters instead of only having 3 of them. But this did make me realize something when I was making this video, and I do want to bring it up because I am very confused by it. Like, basically, one of the forms of the voice matches being heard as the characters is in the albums that are released, or the soundtracks that are released for Barney's World, which contain the Barney's World songs. Even though that means Billy and Baby Bop's voice matches don't really get to be heard as much because Billy and Baby Bop never sang in the show, and they only got to sing in the I Love Me Too special with the show special's 2 new songs. But I have to ask, was that really necessary? Because even though I can appreciate trying to give voice matches a chance to, like, speak as TV characters, I have to ask if it's necessary, because that's not how albums usually work. I mean, unless the characters are supposed to speak new dialogue that you can't hear anywhere else unless it's on the album, then it would make sense to have the voice matches there, but that's not how the Barney's voice matches work. They usually have the characters sing the exact same way as they did in the episode, but then sometimes repeat some of those lyrics to make an extended version, and all of those lyrics are re-recorded by the voice matches for the albums. Like, the entire song, re-recorded by the voice matches. And sometimes they had dialogue that is heard from one of the episodes that goes along with that song, and it's also re-recorded by the voice matches. Like, basically, is that even necessary? Because that's not how soundtracks work. Because, apart from, like, original soundtracks that has characters re-singing songs, like some of the previous Barney albums, like Barney Rocks or Run, Skip, and Jump, basically, what's usually normal about albums or soundtracks is that it's audio taken directly from the episode or the movie, but cleaned up so people can enjoy the clear version of it. I mean, everyone does that. Warner Brothers, Universal, Paramount, Netflix, heck, even Disney does that. So, is re-recording the song with voice matches really that necessary? And honestly, apart from, like, having the voice matches say dialogue or sing lines that the characters didn't originally sing in the song, like Barney having a solo moment from Baby Bop's lyrics that go, "And whatever big feelings you are feeling, we can see," like that. Basically, is it really that necessary, seeing how the only lyrics and lines you're going to be using has already been recorded by the official TV show voice cast? I mean, the official Barney the Dinosaur Instagram account reveals that the official TV voices for Mel, Vivie, and David, which again is Diana, Tsoy, Ella Paciocco, and Deroche, basically have them record the full version of the Barney's World theme song that can only be heard in the live-action music video version of it, and the Barney's World album, while they only cut those lyrics that they recorded for the official TV airings. So it's like, if you're going to have the TV show voice actors actually record the full version of it, then is it really necessary to have them get replaced by voice matches? Because that seems really, really confusing to me for some reason, but, well, it's not really my business or anything, so I guess I'll stay out of it, but I just wanted to ask that because it seems very confusing. But anyway, that brings us to the end of the Dino Dance Party review. Honestly, I considered it a really great mini-series overall, and it does a great job of not only trying to encourage some lessons that were taught on Barney's World, but also the whole get kids active and moving, so because it's not healthy to sit around all day doing nothing. And honestly, I hope they'll be able to make more Barney's World miniseries, or at least more Barney's World stuff soon, seeing how I heard that they're probably shutting down Barney's World, even though there has been some new merchandise released recently that wasn't announced, unlike the I Love Me Too picture book that was presumably cancelled. Although I certainly hope it wasn't. But anyway, basically, I still hope that we'll be able to get more Barney's World stuff in the future, because honestly, they made a really enjoyable series that I feel like should be considered a really great Barney series, even if it isn't the original, and Dino Dance Party is one of the best examples of it. Also, I promise if I ever find out who the official voice matches for Barney, Vivie, David, Mel, and GabeyWabey are, I'll put their names in the description below so we can officially keep track of who the voice matches are, since we already know who Billy's voiced by. But either way, I'm Christian Ryan, and I'll see you next time. Bye!